And 3, 2, 1, we're live.
Yo, what up, guys? Welcome to the first ever morning after review. I'm Chase.
Jonko.
Ethan.
And we are reviewing Fight for the Fallen. This is the third AEW pay-per-view. Some highs, some lows, some real lows. But that's all right. There's some real highs, too.
Yeah, Angelico and Jack Evans. Got him.
Oh, it's true.
Set it up out of the park.
Yeah, so before we get started on the review, do we want to talk about like the tweets and stuff?
Well, before we get started on that, I think we ought to mention that while this is a recording, going forward we're going to try to do this live. Yeah, our YouTube account, evidently YouTube's put in a new thing where if you want to live stream, you gotta get approval 24 hours beforehand, and we found out about it about 30 minutes ago. So, no live stream for us today.
Sometimes it'd be like that.
It do be like that.
Happy National Nude Day to everyone. You don't leave that out.
Is it National Nude Day? Is that a real thing?
Yesterday was National French Friday. Today's National Nude Day.
Should I just take this off? Are we
just pop it?
Well, I didn't celebrate National French Friday, so let me run to McDonald's real quick, get some fries, and then I'll eat them while nude on the stream.
And that's where our money's going to come from.
Exactly. We might have to upload this to a different site, but, hey, you never know. It's all about finding a market, right?
YouTube will demonetize it, but our Patreon will blow the fuck up. So good either way.
Oh, God. Sell bathwater real quick.
So, I mean, how do we want to just kind of launch right into get running down the card? Do you have the card right now?
Well, so before we do that, I do want to talk about like the Jack Evans thing, because I feel like it's not really related to the match, but it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of, and it does kind of put a bad light on things.
Definitely. So Ethan, do you still have the tweets, or do you want me to pull those up?
I can probably let me grab them real quick. Y'all do some like witty banter while I bring up
Isn't it Jack Evans 711 or some weird shit like that? I got him.
You got him? Cool.
Yeah. All right. So
They got buried.
let me scroll through all the retweets. So yesterday, Jack Evans tweets out, "Does anyone live in or around Jacksonville that has access to Iranian tobacco?"
What, like, of all the slang terms, that's the one where he's like, people know what I'm talking about.
Hey, anybody got that devil's lettuce? What the fuck?
Iranian tobacco.
Yeah, top tier, Then after that, he tweeted out, "Jacksonville, you don't have enough drug addicts. Damn it, for once in my life, I wish I was in San Francisco." No, I'm just kidding. No one would ever wish that. Talk about a real winner right there.
I don't really understand the. I mean, he's verified too. They verified him.
Yeah.
He's got that blue check. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I like that we're starting with this, because this is just a very good way to kind of like show the type of things that need to be cleaned up and tightened up. And there's a lot. Like there's, oh my gosh. For me, the majority of this will be talking about stuff like that, because I think it's very important. I know Chase and I have talked about it a lot. Like, what's going to happen to when AEW has that first bad show or has the first storyline that someone dislikes? Like, what does the fan base do? And I think it's very important that you can't mark out. You have to hold them accountable like you would any other product. I mean, we don't want. We want it to succeed, but at the same time, you can't just overlook obvious glaring things, because then it won't become better. So that's my opinion, at least.
Very true. Very true. And I mean, do you want to just talk about some of the other stuff now, since we're here?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we definitely
talk
can.
About the things that need to clean up, like the caption bars that just randomly showed up.
Oh, fuck. I honestly had forgotten about it until just now, even though it was such a big deal last night. Literally all three of us at the same time were like, Are you guys seeing the captions? We were like checking our own caption settings to make sure
Yep.
we didn't accidentally turn them on.
Because I had nodded off and I had rolled over and hit my TV controller and my just happened to, oh shit, I just nodded off. Why is my TV acting so weird now? What happened? And everyone else was having the same problem evidently.
That was the best thing about it was when they came up on the screen, I went and I was like, oh, well, I probably I stepped on or hit the remote or something. I go turn the captions on, and then I've got double captions where I've got their captions and then my captions, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? And their captions are a mixture. They're like, Angelico goes for the lettuce 5138 smiley face. You're like, what the fuck is
that was actually them calling out for weed again.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't
the Lattice 420. Ethan, get it right.
What match was it? Was it during the Joshi?
The tag match, yeah. The Britt Baker and Riho versus B Priestley, and I can't remember the fourth name.
It was on there. It was a newer Nakajima.
Nakajima.
Hell
yeah!
I remember that because the caption showed it 308 times. That's the only reason I remember.
But I did love that not only the captions would show up, but like you mentioned, it would be actual words and then just a string of letters and numbers that meant nothing.
Now I did see. I don't know if y'all saw because I was reading about it and pretty much. I mean, everybody had it, and I don't know if it was speculation or what, but some people were saying it may be a test, just like they were running a caption test, which is kind of strange because Bleacher Report already has the built-in caption setting.
Yeah.
But some people, I guess, were kind of speculating, oh, it's a blow off, it's a free show, it's the pre-show, we're just checking out, I guess, hard-coded subs. They were definitely hard-coded.
That's the worst time to test stuff like that. When you've got the chance to get as many eyes on your product for free. And even past that, in Britain, they still are, overseas in general, they still had to pay for this. And that was during the pre-show. So that was during the free content overseas where they were paying for it. So overall, it just wasn't a good look because if I'm sitting there about to pay for this product and I'm kind of on the fence about it, and then halfway through the second match on the pre-show, I'm still kind of iffy, I don't know that I want to spend the money. I got shit coming up, whatever. And then all of a sudden these captions pop up. Kind of amateur hour bullshit is this? No, they're not getting my money.
If only that would have been the worst of it to happen.
Yeah.
I thought that would be, I was like, okay, we got this out of the way. We got the worst thing out of the way. No, I don't think that's what happened at all. I think another big thing for me, and I know y'all were wanting to talk about it a little bit as well, was, man, the commentary was really, really it felt off. It felt very off. I know I mentioned it to y'all when he first sat down. Jim Ross, he looked like he was in it. He looked good. He seemed like he was energized. More so than Double or Nothing and Fyter Fest. And then I don't know what happened, man, but he kind of he was all over the place. I don't know what y'all think about it.
Honestly, I think I can't tell if it's just him getting older and losing it a little bit, losing his touch a little bit, or if he's just genuinely disinterested in the product. But I think this is easily JR's worst work because he was doing great when he was calling matches with New Japan. Him and Don Callis killing it. I thought they did a great job together, but he's clearly not interested. And then you've got Excalibur calling the wrong moves. Which you're like a wrestler / commentator. You should be the guy who has the moves locked down. And then of course you have narcoleptic Alex Marvez, who's just oh, can you believe that he did that? And then we just
That's it. What was it that I pointed that out too? He missed. Was it a Ushigoroshi? I think that he called or it was something like that Excalibur completely called wrong. Ross had a couple that he missed really badly as well in terms of the name.
But I think Ross is more he's more he doesn't know the indie wrestling moves much as Excalibur should.
Yeah. I every time, what was it? I call it suicide dive because that's what it fucking is.
Yeah.
But what is it, Kia Suicida or whatever? Like
Tope
Tope
Suicida.
Yeah,
Tope Suicida. That's
to Mario Ronaldo. He'll fuck you up.
hey, I went to the dollar store, bought me a flower pot, and then painted it gold. Here you go, Tope Suicida. I don't get the naming convention on some of these. It's like it's Suicide Dive. Fucking just call it Suicide Dive. Who fucking cares? Stop trying to wave your indie boner around. Anyway, so
I think it's avoiding the word suicide. To be totally honest, like I think that's
that's fair. That's fair. But I mean, you could go for the dive, outside dive, whatever.
Yeah.
Suicida. Look at anyway.
I think
I will
dive to the outside would be just fine.
Yeah, I will shoot the commentators some bail.
Hey, you cut out. You're gone. We can't hear you.
Technical difficulties.
So
this is exactly the kind of stuff that was happening to them. This is fitting. This is our
Fight for the Fallen review / stream. So it's fine. While he's fixing that, I do want to say because you were asking about the Ushigoroshi as far as Excalibur goes.
Yeah.
The one that caught my attention was at the end of the Lucha Brothers match when Penta did the Canadian Destroyer right before they did the finish.
Yeah.
He actually called it the finish, which was so when he did it, I was like, he fucked up. The finish is coming. And sure enough, literally the next move was the package pile driver. And I was just like, come on, dude. Like, that's a huge fucking mistake to make.
Test.
Oh, you're coming back.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, my mic setting changed randomly in Zoom. Just we're gonna use line in now. That's no big deal.
Mine's probably gonna do the same thing.
Yeah. So what I was saying though, shooting them bail. They were in Jacksonville. They were in an open amphitheater. It was 80 plus degrees outside. There's no way around it. Fatigue does set in when you're in that kind of heat. And Jacksonville's a pretty humid city. Florida's a pretty humid state overall. So, I mean, I could imagine sitting out there and who knows how long they were there beforehand, doing sound checks, things like that. They probably were just exhausted. So I will shoot them some bail on that. Also, I feel like they're still kind of trying to figure out how to work with each other. Watching this reminded me a lot of watching some of the early TNA days where it was Shivani and who the fuck ever else, and they were just starting to work together. There were those awkward moments and awkward interactions where you fast forward 6 months, they were fine, but hopefully they don't take that long to get on the same page here. But
yeah, because we've got in October.
Yeah, and that's you got to get that worked out.
So
I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. It did suck. I'm not going to sit here and act like it was great. It sucked, but I understand.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. I agree too, because no matter what you're doing, I mean, you're sitting in 85-degree heat, especially the humidity in Florida. Having been there, I mean, it's it'll zap you no matter what. I mean, even if people think it doesn't take much energy to call a wrestling show, but I mean that would be incorrect. I would say
it takes a lot of energy to stay focused for that long in that heat.
And one of the things, this is shifting a little bit, but still within the realm of the commentary, because I know we talked about this too. One of the things that is distracting for me is, and I think Chase nailed it perfectly when we talked about it, is JR is almost kind of clashing with the product in a certain way. Like, so the slower matches, I think he's perfect for. Like the Kip Sapien and Hangman match, I think was perfect. I thought that was probably, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, wrestling matches of the night. Yep. But when you have these kind of spot fest, 6-man tag, the Lucha Bros especially stick out to me. Ross, it seems, tends to get hung up on, the rules, which I understand because they are wanting to enforce it as more of like a sports, but not to a detriment to your brand. And the commentary for him becomes more of, ref's got to do something. Oh, that's an illegal move. Oh, can't do that. Who's the legal man? And for me, that kind of pulls me out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was struggling at that point in the night anyway. Like, I don't want to get into it too much this early, but the show felt really long to me.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely, absolutely.
it seemed like it didn't have a very good, all in, all out, or not all out. What was the first one? Double or Nothing.
Yeah,
Um, both of those shows were high energy the entire time, but they had a good flow. Not just energy spot spot spot. It still had a really good flow. This show, I didn't watch a ton of the Fighter Fest. I'm just going to be honest. But what I did watch, it disjointed is the word that comes to mind very often.
yeah.
It's kind of, it's almost like they're trying to put on a super indie show, but at the same time not be super indie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, let's get real spotty here for about 3 minutes, and then the other 7 minutes of the match are going to be rest holds and just weird shit.
But I will say, I think both Fighter Fest and Fight for the Fallen are very unique shows,
Mhm.
and it's been made very clear that they're not the same quality of shows. Because if we didn't have Double or Nothing, I would be very concerned with the way their shows look. But we've seen that they can do really well with Double or Nothing. And Tony Khan himself said, at least for Fight for the Fallen last night, like, this is not a pay-per-view quality show. Like, this is a show we're doing for charity. It's low cost,
Yeah.
so that they can put that money towards charity. Um, and then they're just going to do wrestling matches. Like, it's if you've ever been to like a local like wrestling show that does a charity show, it's not even like their other shows, because a lot of it is sort of like pandering. It's all the things
It's
that you
charity
want
work.
to see. Yeah, it's not like, hey, there's no titles on the line. We're not going to mention really anything else we've got going on. We might progress a couple of things, but for the most part, this is clearly for the charity. A lot of good guys winning, a lot of like feel good moments, which is why, spoiler alert, like I was like, oh, the thing happened to Paige. Paige is going to get him back, and sure enough, like uh, it's too feel good to not do it.
Yeah,
Um,
it definitely had the feeling of a televised house show, which is fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It was a little. It felt like when your favorite musician throws a little 2 or 3 song EP out while you're waiting on the album. Like, here's something to tide you over. We're coming with better
Yeah.
stuff here later, but
I
here you
definitely,
go.
I agree. I definitely feel like that we're at this point we're coasting. I have the expectation, at least, that All Out is gonna be pretty great. The card is already shaping up to be pretty good, and I just I I want to make sure that, or I want to feel like that they're taking note of the technical miscues,
Yeah,
which I think they are, because Kenny Omega has came out and talked about it. Like, he said, we want to make sure the music sounds right, things like that. So I think they're definitely aware. It's just right now they're not in an environment. They're not in an environment where they can really, make those kind of changes happen the way I think they need to.
yeah, and I mean they did do a lot better with the theme music.
Yeah, you could
Um,
hear it a lot better, I
yeah,
thought.
it was much better last night. Also, the camera work. I thought the camera work was a lot better last night
They
than it
they
had been.
definitely missed less outside spots, and they
Mhm.
were more. They had more of like a pan down when they're up close on somebody, say doing like a sharpshooter. They made sure to pan down and catch the bottom. Whereas on some of the other shows, they were just kind of maintaining, the top, which that's not really a good, camera angle for a submission. But
yeah,
Right.
that's not anything. But all right, guys, I'm gonna stop us there for that. Like, let's go ahead and get into the card, because I feel like we
let's
can
do it.
talk about production stuff and things that they missed, like, for a while. There's a lot of little things, but I
Yeah.
feel like we'll at least get to some of them through the match. So, first match of the night, the buy-in, Peter Avalon with Leva Bates, the Librarians versus Sunny Kiss. Yeah.
I didn't have any I didn't have any notes on this.
Okay.
Well, the librarians did a pretty good job of coming out there and getting some early heat. I thought they did a great job with the little opening promo.
Yeah, but it's legit go away heat. Like,
I don't
they
think
know
it
that.
was. I don't think it
legit.
was.
I definitely, I think people
think
are
it's-
bored. Like,
I think it's Xbox Heat or Xbox
Xbox heat. Is that what you
Yeah.
just said?
Heat. I said Xbox, like chicken pox.
Hey,
It's an Xbox heat. You know, like the vent on the side of it, just all the hot air out. But I will say, I started off this match, and I actually posted a comment in the Discord, and like I instantly regretted it. But I was like, Sonny Kiss looks good, because when it started off, you know, you had like the shushing angle, and then eventually Sonny like grabs the hand and kind of plays to the crowd, and I thought that was great. And then did the like the jump Hurricane Rana. I thought that looked awesome. The head scissors, and then the back handspring, like the doing multiple back handsprings, and then like turned around, and instead of doing an actual hit, he like slapped Peter Avalon in the face. I thought that was a nice touch too. Really good, like playing to the crowd stuff. And then after that, it was just like, holy shit, this got bad. Like,
yeah.
I think Jonko nailed it because he used the word telegraphed, and that it was coming across as telegraphed. And I would add to that it seemed it seemed pretty tight, like it seemed clean. I think it was very rehearsed, like you could tell, which I think is part of the reason that a lot of the stuff maybe looked telegraphed. Overall, I didn't have an issue with it. It just kind of was like, it was, like he said, it was like already kind of just rehearsed, telegraphed. We kind of knew what was coming. So
there was a point where Sonny Kiss went for a kick, just a little front kick, whatever. And you knew very quickly that Peter Avalon was supposed to catch that foot because Sonny Kiss held that foot out there for like 3 seconds. Like, yeah. You gonna get it? You gonna get it? Oh, okay, now we can move on to the spot. It was like, oh, God. There were a couple spots like that where it was like, all right, I'm going to punch you now. All right, don't leave it there for the counter.
Dude, and that's such a fine line because, like, rehearsed matches can be good, but you got to make sure that they still have that natural flow. Like, look at like an NXT takeover. The rumor is that all of those matches are rehearsed like a million times, and that's why they're so tight. But those matches don't come off telegraphed at all, you know.
Yeah, but they're also not like, they're not focusing on rehearsing silly little shit like, hey, I'm gonna throw this kick and you're gonna do this like back bend under it.
True.
Which, by the way, in this match, Peter Avalon threw a kick, but like before the kick got out, they had already done the back bend. Like you just read his mind and you knew it was coming. And that looked really bad. And then the other one that I'll mention is Avalon did an enziguri, kicked him in the back of the head, and his reaction to that was to do a back bump. And like, so like he kicked him so fucking hard, his body just gave out and he just flew in the direction that the kick came from.
He's trying to give him that Ric Flair flop.
It threw me off so bad. Like in enziguri, I feel like it's pretty like basic level stuff.
Yeah.
It's selling enziguri, like time to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, but also talking about rehearsals and stuff like that, I can never say anything bad about people who rehearse matches because Randy Savage was notorious for it. And I mean, Macho Man Randy fucking Savage. What are you gonna say? You know?
Yeah, can't really debate that. Yeah, dude. The only other thing that I wanted to make a note of, which this would cater more to people that keep up with professional football, but so being a Titans fan and having all of this Jaguars stuff, it was interesting to see the Jaguars entrance with the cheerleaders and the mascot, Mr. Jackson DeVille, which is the best name ever for a mascot.
Yeah, I would agree.
The best part, and I would implore you to do a little bit of reading, a little bit of research, look up a particular YouTube video, if you will. But Sonny Kiss was wearing a Jalen Ramsey jersey, and I don't know if anyone knows, but there's certain kind of like rumors and things floating around out there about Jalen Ramsey, and I thought the fact that he picked that jersey, I don't know if it was a coincidence, is all I'm going to say. I'll leave it at that.
What are the rumors? I mean, let's talk about it. I'm curious.
Well, okay, so the rumors go, and the reason we can talk about it, he may be a Titan next year, so I'll probably end up eating my words, but
Ramsey?
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey.
Fucking hope so. God, that'd be a good pickup. Anyway.
Dude, he's from Smyrna. He's a hometown guy. And not for us to get, sidetracked. But
it's a different show. Different.
Yeah, the rumor just goes that he's a little bit, I guess, on the flamboyant side.
Okay.
So
I mean, it's fine. If you want to.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
I don't have a problem with it at all, but I do.
It's a
It
good
was
little
one of those
tie-in.
things-
It's a fun little tie-in.
Definitely.
one of those things that immediately made me wonder, like, was this a deliberate choice of jersey?
Hmm.
It could be. It totally could be. Maybe like a "Hey, I support you" thing.
Exactly, because you got 52 other players on the team.
Yeah. So I will say one thing, and I was going to shout this out, so I'm glad you already brought up Jalen Ramsey. So me, hashtag not a sports guy. One of the only players I know that still plays fucking football right now is Jalen Ramsey, and the reason is that the guy that does my tattoos, we've been friends for a long time, but he also does tattoos for Jalen Ramsey.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I've actually like been in the shop with him and with his brother. I had no fucking clue who the dude was. It's just the guy that my buddy tattoos. So yeah, regardless of his sexual orientation, I hope he does well.
Oh, that is the least of worries to me. If they, I want him to be a Titan by next year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's apparently super fucking good. So
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
but we're apparently super fucking not. So maybe he does.
He would make the team a lot better instantly. Period.
Yeah,
But
but can one person fix a team? Like maybe I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about football.
I have
match.
I have an excellent segue on the topic of sports. One of the notes that I had was the fact that Jen Decker is the backstage correspondent. I don't know if that's something just for the short term or if I think she's actually signed on with AEW to do it.
She
Might
She
have to check.
tweeted yesterday before the show that she was going to be doing the backstage stuff, but she made it sound like it was like a surprise.
Okay.
Like, so maybe it's a one-off for now, but hopefully they pick her up because I thought she did a great job, especially with her interactions with Kip Sabian.
Yeah.
That was a really good, like,
that Kip Sabian backstage spot was fantastic. Made
Love
me an
it.
instant fan of Sabian. I didn't know who he was, and I instantly was like, okay, yeah, I like this guy.
but did you know that he's super bad?
I didn't
Marvez-
until that interview.
Marvez made sure to get that in there over and over.
Oh, God. We should do a drinking game where anytime we have to say his name, we just fucking take a shot. Well,
I
I'll
don't
just
want
be
to die.
dead.
I don't want to die.
But all right, second match, Britt Baker and Riho versus B Priestley and Shoko Nakajima. A couple of things that I noticed right off the bat. Right before we went live, we were looking at some news, and apparently there's a chance that Britt Baker suffered a concussion during this match. There's a pretty nasty looking kick. There's a gif of it. Oh, excuse me. There's a gif of it online.
I mean, it was gross. Don't throw up, but it was gross.
No. Sorry, I was like choking on nothing, if that makes sense. But yeah, so it looks really bad. And after she gets kicked in the head, she just kind of lays there,
Yeah.
huddled up. So it's very possible. And she was like having trouble standing and stuff. I
Yeah,
feel like that sort of like offset the flow of the match because before that it was going really well. And at certain other points it went really well too. But
Yeah.
the two things that stick out in my mind is, and I know Ethan, you'll agree with me for one of these. The 619 just looked really goofy on both ends. I mentioned with Ethan last night, I don't think Riho is like tall enough to actually like lay on the rope like she like a male wrestler would do for that setup.
Yeah.
And then Nakajima, like with the slowest like come around in the entire world. I was like, she just like feathered her in the face, but we still had to get a sell out of it. So she looks ridiculous taking this not a kick.
Yeah.
But then the Northern Lights suplex, that is probably the prettiest Northern Lights I've ever seen from any wrestler. So I don't know if that's a finisher for her or what, but it looked great, and I hope she keeps doing it.
it was a good one.
Hater.
It was good. It wasn't. Is it Alicia Fox who does them?
Does she still
Dude,
wrestle?
Don't tell me that Alicia Fox does anything better than anybody else. Come
The
on.
Northern Lights suplex she does is solid, dude. I don't give a shit.
She gets Arn Anderson fired pretty better than anybody else.
Oh, is that what happened?
I think
Was
so.
Arn Anderson trying to smash Alicia Fox?
No. Apparently, he let her go out. Well, He let her go out there, and she wasn't in the best state to wrestle. And apparently, that was
Oh,
it was on a house show. I mean, that's the rumor. You know what? I try to steer away from saying Dave Meltzer said this or Dave Meltzer said this. But if you listen to like any of the top podcasts right now, they're just reading about what Meltzer said in this year.
Yeah.
I
mean, a lot of the news comes from the same people, man. It's Meltzer, Sean Ross Sapp, who's the guy from the Brian Satin? That's the other name. Yeah. Those are my top three. Like, if it happens in wrestling, they'll tell me. Like,
well, with AEW, what's his name? Chris Van Vliet.
Yeah,
he's a damn good one.
Yeah, but he's more of like an
interviewer, but
does a lot of interviewing and stuff. But he does get a lot of good answers out there.
I'll be quick on mine because I know we want to get through the card and not get hung up on them. Mine were just kind of points about this match. It was sloppy. A lot of places it felt sloppy. Riho it's like she had some trouble taking certain bumps. They felt a little disjointed. And then you had the obvious, which now with the new information about Britt Baker, it doesn't seem as glaring, but Brie Baker tried to make a hot tag in the wrong corner, yes. Which got a huge reaction on Twitter. Like, oh my goodness, she mixed up, which partner was.
Well, they got a huge reaction in the arena. Like, that was a very loud.
You fucked up. Yeah. However, coming off a kick like that,
I'm sure she probably didn't even know what state she was in.
Yeah.
If you saw, Nakajima actually is like pointing her in the other direction, like, go that way. So it's bad.
Mm-hmm. Was that so? I spent a lot of this match checking Discord and chatting. I was kind of bored with it. Everything I watched was. I've said it a few times off air, but it was really stiff, and I think that added to the sloppiness of it. But it was a really stiff match, and surprisingly stiff. And considering the concussion, considering everything else, I just feel kind of bad watching it.
I'll say this for it. If the matches are rehearsed, then the fact that she got concussed, they probably had to call a lot of stuff on the fly, and that probably created some issues with the match. So who knows? It could have potentially been a lot better had that not happened. But we do at least have Britt Baker versus Bea Priestley coming out of this. And I think as long as, she can get cleared, I think that feud will go really well.
And there was probably a lot of spots that they had to pull out because they're like, oh, no, she can't be doing this. We got to cut way back on what Britt's doing the rest of this match.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised in the least bit.
Definitely. But she's had a strong feature in every show already, so it wouldn't be a thing to pull her back a little bit and feature some other women wrestlers. Like, you've got this Aja Kong versus Awesome Kong thing, which I don't want to see Aja Kong do fucking anything, but at least that's something to fill space.
Yeah.
You've got Bea Priestley now. You've got a lot of the Joshi wrestlers. You've got Allie. You've still got Brandy, which I'm hoping that Awesome Kong just stays as her enforcer. I like the Shawn Michaels Diesel dynamic that they have for women's wrestling.
Yeah.
I hope that they continue that because Awesome Kong, just looking intimidating and occasionally just causing Allie to trip up. I thought that was a really, really good touch. But we'll get to that. Next match. This is the first match on the actual card. So everything before that was the quote unquote buy-in. But the first match, and this match I thought was really well done. MJF, Sammy Guevara, and Shawn Spears versus Jimmy Havoc, Darby Allin, and Joey Janela. Dude, MJF and Shawn Spears, even in their entrances, I'm just like, these guys are fucking stars. They come out, they look like $1 million. I think even Sammy Guevara has a nice air about him. Even though they clearly didn't get along character wise, I think that it was a good team because it's all they're all douchebags. They're all huge douchebags. Of course they would be on a team even if they don't want to be. The face team, I'll be totally honest, I was not rooting for them in any way going into the match. I like all of them. but I didn't know a whole lot about Darby Allin because we talked about this last night. But at Fyter Fest, the Bleacher Report app died on me, and I could not get it to come back up. I missed the entire Cody Darby match, so I pretty much caught highlights. And the highlights do not do Darby Allin justice because, oh my God, dude. Like last night, I was feeling probably the way you guys felt 2 weeks ago at Fyter Fest, but like he did the springboard arm drag where he angel poses in midair, and I'm like, look at this majestic dude. Like, this is insane. But Darby Allin, like, even though he took the pin, I don't think that hurts him at all. He came out looking like $1 million. He just looks like he's been wrestling literally his entire life.
I think you still protect him a little bit on the pin as well because he has the rib tape, so he's clearly got he's got his ribs taped up. So you don't have him at. You can make the argument, he's not at 100%. I've never seen anybody since I've gotten back into wrestling move in a ring the way he does. I want to say, like, he's
definitely not.
He's so quick, and he just where he needs to be, and that was definitely for me the most impressive thing about this match. I think was Darby Allin. I would say.
Yeah, and so I enjoyed that. They made a point to say, yeah, just because they're heels doesn't mean they're like on the heel team and that they have to like each other.
Yeah.
Like there were conflicts there on the own team, and the baby faces too. There's a spot where I believe it was Jimmy Havoc tagged himself in when
Darby
Janela
tagged himself in with Jimmy. He slapped him on the back when Jimmy.
No, I'm talking about a different spot though. Like this is fairly early in the match. Like Janela goes into the corner, and they both have their hands out, and I believe that maybe Janela just tagged Havoc in instead of Darby, and Darby was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
like
I think that was like one of the very first.
Yeah, it was pretty early, and I just sat back and I was like, it's refreshing to see even the good guys not get along.
Definitely.
Like, thank goodness they're being portrayed as actual people.
And that's something that WWE definitely falls by the wayside on. Like in WWE, all the bad guys are fucking buddies no matter what.
Yeah.
They all hang out with Shane McMahon. They all hang out with Baron Corbin. But like the Revival, it's like, hey, we're bad guys now. Better get in line. Better go hang out with Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre because that's what the bad guys do.
Well, I mean, that's you got to do that to get into the clubhouse.
True. Yeah, to get into Shane McMahon's Millionaire Lounge.
Yeah, but I do have to throw some shade at this match. Joey Janela threw a really dope looking DVD on the apron, and then Shawn Spears immediately threw a running DVD for the pin.
Finish. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
what do you think about Janela after the DVD on the apron?
Oh yeah,
Jim
that was
Cornette.
great. That was great.
Did you know wrestlers can use their middle fingers in AEW?
Oh man, they can do it in WWE now too.
Yeah,
isn't it
but
crazy?
It gets cut out of the replays.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. But live though, whoo, buddy, better watch out. Kofi can throw a bird too.
You mentioned the Death Valley Driver, John Cole. This was the first. This was a sign of things to come, I think, for the rest of the night, which was
that's why I brought it up.
A repetition, a redundancy in the moves that we were seeing. You had those back to back. I believe you may at this point have already had a couple suicide dives as well, maybe a couple stomps as well. So,
the stomps, the dives, the DVDs. And there was another one that they kept on throwing. Like, there are some moves that you expect to see repeated. Like, Meteors. I'm not familiar enough with Sheeman, and we'll get to that. But he threw a few Meteors out, and I was like, that's a little.
Isn't that his finish though?
Yeah. It's not like Kenny Omega who throws out 30 V triggers in a match. Like you just kind of expect to see a bunch of V triggers. Like
that's the way, honestly. And I get your point completely. I took it as the anti V trigger. Like I took it as he was throwing them out in a V trigger fashion.
Yeah.
I don't
Hold on,
like.
let's come
Yeah,
back to
let's
that.
wait until we get to that.
Let's wait on
But,
the card.
but I was just using that as a point of reference. Like there are certain moves, like a super kick, you expect at especially an indie show to see a ton of super kicks. It's just kind of a standard spot now. DDTs thrown around fairly regularly now. But the dive, I get that it's a fairly common spot now too, but it's tired. Stop, please. I did a podcast a year ago and it was a WWE podcast, and that's something I bitched about on every other show. We saw 14 dives tonight. It's not that impressive. Please stop.
Yeah, there's something to be said about like making sure that your match is unique.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's what dragged this card a little bit.
And the DVD is a really cool looking move.
Yeah,
You don't want to be just throwing that out like all the time.
it should be a finishing move, or at least like a
A
false
hope
finish.
spot, yeah.
Yeah,
Hashtag Velveteen Dream.
Yeah.
exactly.
Can we get
Man, but so a couple more things I want to call out. The interaction between MJF and Shawn Spears I thought was great. I actually tweeted out before the match, like, we're either going to see dissension between the two of them, or we're going to get hints that they colluded and that MJF was in on that chair shot.
I
And
still think
the
that's a
way
possibility.
Either way, I was cool with it, but I liked what they did, where like MJF ducked the clothesline and Shawn Spears got hit, and when Shawn was down, MJF looks at him, flips him off, and says, "You're an asshole." It was a nice touch. It didn't take up a whole lot of time, but it does progress that story.
And then he also did the cartwheel in the 10.
Oh yeah, dude, right in his face. I forgot about that. Oh my god, MJF is a treasure.
He's so good. He's so damn wonderful. I'm looking forward to the next, probably 15, 20 years of watching him just be an asshole. Makes me so happy. Someone compared him to a young, oh God, what's his name? Paul Heyman. Someone compared him to that and the way he acts and everything.
Jim Ross said that. I know that.
There it is.
On his podcast, Jim Ross did.
And I can kind of see it, especially like Dangerous Alliance Paul Heyman and ECW Paul Heyman. Not bad.
Yeah, he's an absolute asshole all the time, and I love that he doesn't break character.
Mm-hmm.
He very much, like, all his interviews are, and the ring stuff, he's at 100 all the time, and most performers can't be that way. It's exhausting. But he manages to do it, and I think that's why he's being propelled so quickly. Also, they mentioned last night, and it was something that I noticed, but I wasn't sure. I was like, did he get bigger? But they mentioned he has been putting on weight so that he can compete in the heavyweight bracket so that he can vie for the world title, which I think is a nice touch that they're calling that out, and you can see physical differences. So good on him for that. Ultimately, Shawn Spears hits Darby Allin with the Death Valley Driver, gets the pin. And then, as we mentioned earlier, because Darby has the taped up ribs, doesn't cost him anything. He doesn't look bad for taking the pinfall because he took an ass whooping from Cody Rhodes 2 weeks ago. But also, it's an excuse for the bad guy to think he's better than the good guy that he's going after. And I'm glad that that's the story they're telling. Like this, like, hey, we can use multiple different people to tell a story between two people. It's something that we haven't seen in WWE in a long fucking time. Something that has to happen. That's how you get everybody on TV and still push your storylines.
Yeah, well, the overlying theme of this match for me was like Darby trying to show up Shawn Spears because Spears took his shine. Like they put on this great match at Fyter Fest, and then Spears comes in and takes all the headlines, and Darby wasn't too happy about it. And I thought that's great. That's fantastic. Good storytelling. Thanks, guys.
Definitely. And not only do we progress the Cody and Shawn story, but Darby said he wants a one-on-one rematch with Shawn, so we got another match booked already. I don't know if we'll see that at all out or if we'll see it afterward, but I think
it'd be a good TV first couple weeks main event.
I mean, it could even be the buy-in, dude. Could you imagine Darby Allin versus Shawn Spears to the pre-show to try and get you to buy the pay-per-view?
Yeah, actually, speaking of that, a point I want to make before we move too far past it. The fact that they had Brie Baker on the pre-show speaks volumes to me because they're treating their pre-show as something to get you to buy the show. as opposed to where your WWE pre-shows. I guess NXT doesn't do it quite as badly, but it's almost like here's your crappy matches, get them out of the way, and then go on to the main card. Like I was really happy watching the pre-show, just seeing who was on there. I mean, the first match was. I think they expected more out of it than they got. But the fact that Britt Baker was, I mean, she's been prominently featured. She's the one that shows up at all the events. She's the poster child of the women's division there, and they put her on the pre-show. I think that's awesome. I think it speaks highly of what they think of their pre-shows.
I agree. Anyway, and it also shows the tier at which they see B. Priestley, at which they see Nakajima, at which they see Riho.
Yeah.
They're in this match with Britt Baker. I definitely think that's a good call out, and I think they're going to continue to do that. The one thing I don't want to see from the buy-in is title matches on the pre-show.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Cool. We'll keep going down here for the sake of time here. Next match: Allie Brandy Rhodes versus Awesome Kong, Allie versus Brandy Rhodes with Awesome Kong. Let me rephrase that. Honestly, all I've got to say about it is like Awesome Kong. Glad she was there. I think the fact that Brandy keeps like leaning on Awesome Kong is great. I don't really even need to see Awesome Kong wrestle. I just like her being there as an enforcer. I thought that this match was made instantly better by the fact that Awesome Kong was there.
Absolutely.
The only note that I had from this match was that it probably ran already with this and with the Joshi. Am I saying that right? I want to do it just Joshi. So with these matches already, I noticed a trend that it felt like they were running a little long, which I think is something that ended up factoring into the overall show. It felt a little bit long, and Brandy very clearly got the heat got to her. There was a point where she went for a suplex where it was essentially she gives her the wraps her up from behind and basically falls backwards.
Well, she had two of those.
Yeah, so she definitely the heat got to her, which I mean that's understandable, and she's not a full-time wrestler, but that was one of the things where I thought, well, I don't know if she's going to continue to wrestle or is this going to be something where they move her into a valet for not only Cody but for Kong as well. I think there's going to be that interaction.
I would be cool with that also. Or just let Brandy be what she is. Let her be the Brandy that was out during the Kota Ibushi match, where she is like basically playing the victim, being a really great heel.
Yeah, super conniving.
But can't be beat because she has fucking Awesome Kong in her corner.
Yeah.
I think you can do a lot with the skills Brandy does have and totally avoid the skills that she doesn't have.
I agree.
Here's what made this match for me. Now, the commentators mentioned that she hadn't wrestled since December. All right, cool. We'll mark that down in the whole it kind of being slow thing. Factor that in with the promo package, the video package that they showed, where she's talking about overcoming herself basically to even get back in the ring.
Yeah.
Then this morning I watched her post-show conference thing. Like where the post-show interviews made it for me. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Go check it out. She's like, I won though. Like, oh well, it's been a while. Yeah, but I won. Like you understand that I got the W. Oh well, you had Awesome Kong there. Do you think that she factored in? Da da da. Allie could have brought friends, but she didn't. And guess what? I fucking won.
I got the W.
Yeah.
No asterisks there. There's no asterisks in the win column.
Dude, exactly. And at the end of the day, in professional sports in general, winning is what matters. So if you're gonna, play up the aspect that this is a more sports-based product, then I like that approach. The W being what matters.
And another thing that she mentioned in the post-show interview was that she's like, "You guys saw the video. I said I was gonna do whatever it took to win. It's what I did. And it worked because I won." Like it was a brilliant promo. It was a brilliant thing. And then she switched right out of character, which is something I respect Brandy for. She switched right out of character and started talking about how great Culture City was. Like, hell yeah.
Definitely.
Solid.
And I think that ties in with what I was saying. Like, She by no means has to be good, but she can win.
Yeah.
She can win, and she can fucking brag about it, and she can be this like Shane McMahon type character. But what Shane McMahon should have been, where he's not actually good, he's winning through fucking luck. But they're having Shane McMahon like actually beat people.
Yeah.
But she can still do that. Hey, I'm in power. I convinced this strong person to help me because I'm in power, and now I'm just gonna. There's a good chance I'm gonna take your women's title.
Yep.
And have somebody just upset her. Maybe not even in the finals, in like the semifinals. Have her get taken out almost at the end, and then that can be an even bigger underdog story. Imagine,
honestly, it could probably easily be Allie too.
Yeah, imagine either Allie or Britt Baker versus her in the semifinals. Whoever it is ends up actually beating Brandy despite Awesome Kong, and at the end they beat the holy hell out of this person. So this person comes out for the finals either same night or next week or whatever. They're taped up, and then you have this awesome underdog story about how even though they're battered and bruised, they still ended up winning, and they're the first women's champion. Like, you can do a big story with that.
Yeah.
I'm really I'm not so excited about the match that happened. I'm more excited about what's to come.
Yeah, the potential.
Yeah, so I think that's good. Moving along here, I feel like this is where things start to like kind of go downhill a little bit. The third match is the Dark Order versus Angelico and Jack Evans versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus with Marco Stunt. I thought that was weird, but that's whatever. We'll get to that in a sec. And the stipulation of this match is convoluted as fuck. The winner will advance to All Out, not for a first round bye, but for an opportunity at a first round bye. The winner of this match gets to do another match where they might win a thing.
Shot at best friends. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, you get to wrestle best friends for the shot at the first round bye, but like, I don't know, man. Just why not be like, hey, so get to All Out and be like, hey, so best friends won their match and these people won their match. We're going to put them together, and the winner gets a first round bye in the tournament.
If the thing is,
wins matter.
The thing is for me, if you're going to be seeing first round bye, blah blah, the match you're going to have to show me the bracket.
So they do have a bracket,
or do they have it up?
It's not posted yet, but they're going to post it soon. But Young Bucks did an interview with Chris Van Vliet, and they said the bracket is already made. It's going to be posted soon.
Exactly. So I need that ASAP. Otherwise, the first round bye stuff is not going to factor in.
I need the AEW website to have like full on stats on it. Like, speaking of that, I want to see the win and loss count.
I bet it will.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
But my takes from this match, I feel like you guys are super hard on Angelico and Jack Evans. They're not
fuck those
they're
guys.
not my favorite tag team by any means, but I don't think they're that bad. I think if anyone is like shit in this match, it's Evil Uno. I thought he was like he seemed disoriented and out of it. Like, really, he was there to save Stu Grayson from like taking a pinfall while Stu did all the really amazing hard work. And it's like, wow. Other guy, Stu, just get a guy that like does sit-ups sometimes, and he's already better than the guy that you have.
Well, I think this was another match, especially with Evil Uno. I think the heat got to him worse than it did to pretty much everyone else on the card, other than maybe Brandy.
He looks terrible.
He did.
Was not good.
It was pretty bad, but
it's one thing like to be like Jericho and blow up 5 minutes into the match.
Yeah,
but he came out blown up already. He's been blown up for years, it appears. And this isn't a shot at his like weight, because there are heavy guys that can do things he clearly can't do. We have our Keith Lees. We have Ace Romero, who I'm not particularly a fan of because I don't like slower, heavier wrestling. But he's good at what he does. This guy clearly is out of shape and not fucking good at what he does at all. He may have it in theory, but he cannot perform it because of his size. That's the problem.
Oh, let us not forget too. Out with the what are their name? The Dark Order, the Evil Order.
Yeah.
I'm not invested in them yet. But we see they come out with the Creepers, and Chase points out, why does one of the Creepers? Why is he wearing a fucking shirt? Like, what is this?
And so the thing is, I specifically thought, like, I'm glad you brought this up, but in my mind, I was like, this is how they're going to do Jericho showing up. This match is not even going to happen But so I was looking at that guy's face. The person that comes out first is not Jericho. They purposely did not make it Jericho, so that they could like have him come out later and do the surprise thing.
Smoke screen.
Once I saw that it wasn't Jericho, I dismissed it. So it was still surprising later.
Yeah.
But that was my first thought, is like, you can't show his tattoos. They're going to know it's him. So I think they did that on purpose. It was a nice little swerve. But it was super weird, because why not just have them all come out with shirts on? Then it
because that one was actually Baron Corbin, and no one wanted to see his belly button.
Yeah.
His knife wound.
Yeah.
Yeah, his physique is not good. S word. Yeah.
My takeaway from this match was, I think, was probably similar to y'all's, and it's really the only thing I have to say on it. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus continue to impress me. They continue to look like probably they're going to end up being one of the top face teams, which I can definitely get behind.
Yeah.
They continue to pull off things that we haven't seen, but can also work kind of a slower, less spotty style.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, they were definitely, the crowd was super hot for both of them.
It's just a boy and his dinosaur.
The Marco Stunt stuff, I could care less about. Didn't do anything for me. I didn't hate it, just didn't do anything for me. And there was another time where the commentary felt a little jarring, because Jim Ross is wanting a DQ. Obviously, let's be honest. You know, and so that was my takeaway.
So at least he got thrown out. So with multi-man tag matches like that, there's generally not a DQ. There's no DQ because of the fact that there's so many people.
Yeah.
But at least he got thrown out. There was a nice like exit spot for him. But I'm with you. He didn't need to be there. Marco Stunt recently, I guess not that recently, but like broke either his leg or his hip or something. We saw him at the TNA pay-per-view Homecoming, and he was on crutches and in a cast. And it was like, ever since then, when he came out at Double or Nothing in the Battle Royal, he was clearly like limping. His leg, like, it's like it doesn't work right anymore. So he's like straight legging while he's walking with the other leg. And if you're doing that, fucking stop wrestling. Like, don't be a danger to yourself. I legitimately don't want him to be there, because I'm concerned for his well-being. I feel like he's hurt himself to the point that he shouldn't be doing this anymore, and he hasn't come to terms with it. And I don't like that AEW is letting him be out there. If he can't fucking walk to the ring, he can't wrestle.
Yeah.
Bottom line, shouldn't be there. But yeah, I agree. Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus look great. I hate to keep using the metaphor, but I think they're also a Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash pairing. And I think that we will definitely see, I mentioned last night in our Discord, Jungle Boy is going to be like the Jeff Hardy of AEW. He's going to fucking have a lot of fans. He's going to sell a lot of fucking merchandise.
Yeah,
definitely. And Luchasaurus, he'll be a world champion at some point in AEW. Has to. The dude is massive. He's strong as shit. He looks impressive. I think without the mask, his tattoos look great. He could be. That's true. He does have a master's, and he likes to bring that up a lot. I will say the one commentary remark that Marvez made the entire night that I liked was when they first talked about Luchasaurus when he was in the ring, and he was like, "Did you know he has a master's?" Like it was like this big secret that nobody knew.
It's like nobody kicks out of the Falcon Arrow.
Exactly. It's like, let's talk about this thing we all already are aware of. But I thought that was a nice remark. Other than this, I mean, Jungle Boy took the pin. So Dark Order advanced to face Best Friends. Let's just hope Best Friends wins this match. Actually, no, I lied. Let's see Dark Order win the match, so we have to see them one last time in the tag team tournament. Just for the sake of all of us.
So if the match coming up is for a bye in the tag team tournament, does that mean that the loser still gets in and they just don't have the first round bye?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So to my understanding, all the tag teams are in the tournament. Another thing the Young Bucks said, which I'll bring up because of Ethan's comment about them. So they weren't even supposed to be a tag team at the start. It's just they started doing the like the buddy videos for being the Elite, and they got so over they said they didn't have a choice but to make them a tag team, which I think is hysterical. Like, it's good on them, but yeah, I guess they were supposed to they were both single stars, and then because of how well their skits did in being the Elite, they were like, we have to fucking make them a tag team.
Who are you talking about there?
Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Yeah. There's a certain innocent charm to him.
I agree. It literally is a boy and his dinosaur. Like,
Yeah.
clearly he's a man, but like the chemistry that they have is like, hey, this is my buddy, and me and my buddy are gonna kick your ass. And I like that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on, fourth match, I think match of the night.
Best
Adam
match.
Page versus Kip, Superbad, Sabian. Damn.
So
the
good,
promo-
man.
The promos leading up to it were great. I thought Kip Sabian did a really good job of making himself sound like a contender for the world title before this match even started. And I was just like, okay, I'm ready. Like, let's see this now. And they just didn't disappoint. Like, they both went out there. They looked incredible. And I think the best part about this is, and again, this is a credit to AEW storytelling, Adam Page won, but won with a single minute left in the match.
Yeah.
Almost did not get a pinfall over Kip Sabian going into this world title match, which says, hey, Kip Sabian probably going to be in the contenders list, at least top 5. And I think we'll get that match down the line again, and I think it'll be even better than this one.
For me, I totally completely agree with with what both y'all said. I'm pretty much, no pun intended, I'm definitely all in on Sabian. Majorly impressive. This match was interesting to me. This may not make sense the way I intend for it to, but it was almost boring in the sense that it was so like it was so good, but almost like, what else do you expect from these guys? Like, it was just, like, how when you get that fatigue of, you watch one of New Japan's cards and they've got 11 matches and they're all just fucking bangers all the way through, all the way down. And, you get that solid 19-minute match. I mean, nothing about this match stood out. It was just a good ass match. Like, it was just that type of good match. Both of them worked well. They both looked great. And I think Sabian came away looking super strong.
Yeah, I only have one real complaint about this match, and it's kind of nitpicky, but it's feedback. If for whatever reason Adam Page happens to ever stumble upon a Smart Week video, and this is the one that he picks up on, if you spend an entire match working the knee, and that be like the kind of the story throughout the match, maybe let's chill on the standing shooting star press and the moonsault and doing all this real super athletic knee based shit. Like, that's the only feedback I had. Like, he's young, so I'm not gonna sit here and like just judge him on it real hard. But maybe let's work on the selling a little bit more, because he had the limp down, but it's like limp. Oh wait, let me hit the super button real quick. Let me go ahead and pretend I don't have a hurt leg and do all this crazy shit, and then turn off super mode and go right back to limping all over the place.
That's called the Seth Rollins approach. So
But it's like that like the wrestlers like getting their adrenaline. It's not like they can it's not like all of a sudden they're just healed, because it's not like he didn't go back to selling it, but they can still do some of those things. It's like when Matt sells the back injury, which is like every Young Bucks match, but it's like, oh, he's got the back injury, but then he threw the super kick, and then he did the thing. But in between those moves, he's like, oh shit, that fucked up my back. Like, I should have done that, but I still want to win this match.
Well, I mean, just to tie it in though, like, we'll talk more about it in a little bit, obviously, but there was a spot in that match where they tried to go for the Meltzer driver, and from where they had worked his arm and his shoulder so much, he was basically, I can't even remember which Rhodes it was. I think it was Dustin. He was holding Dustin up with one arm. Like, he didn't even have his other arm up around him. Like, it's the little things like that, and it's not going to ruin anything. But at the same time, it's like, could have put that little extra spice in there, and it would have been even better, And that's just constructive criticism, feedback I've got for Adam Page. Just work on selling a little bit more convincingly. And
first of all, how fucking dare you talk to Adam Page like that?
The man
Second of all,
is a
how
goddamn
fucking dare you.
stallion. Okay.
Yeah.
I called this.
I was real
when I
stoked
called-
to see him use the dead eye again. Like I
Got it.
forgot that he had that. What was it? What was it called in freaking Ring of
Last
Honor?
Right, the
Right, oh, right.
rite of passage.
Rite of
So-
Passage. Yeah.
Was it that?
I think that is an impressive looking move. One of the first pay-per-views I ever watched of non-WWE content was the Ring of Honor show where, you know, Adam Cole got introduced to the Bullet Club, and that night Adam Page had a match where he did one of those through a table and just gashed his leg wide open, and I was
Yeah.
like, man, that looks so wild.
That was a great match. Man, that was a great match.
That was so wild seeing that. I was like, I like that move, and every time I saw him after that do that rite of passage, and now the dead eye, I was like, that just looks good.
You set up a nice little segue there as well, because you talk about Paige getting some color. What about the hardway juice we had there at the end of the match? What do y'all think about Mr. Creeper arrives and we finally find out who it is?
Yeah. Jericho pulls the mask off. I thought the code breaker looked way better than
Agreed.
the running code breaker, because he actually, when Paige sold it, he jumped diagonally. So he actually moved with Jericho when he hit, and I was like, man, that looked fucking nasty.
Damn
But then,
good.
Yeah, the Judas effect looks so silly, man. Fucking caught him, busted him open. Not a fan of the Judas effect. I wish he'd just do away with it.
I think you fast forward 6 months to a year, and you're probably going to see that being his V trigger. Like, he's just going to throw 4 or 5 of them in a match, and it's never going to be the finisher.
But it finished Kenny Omega.
Yeah. I mean,
I
sometimes
don't
when you're
know.
experimenting with shit, sometimes you got to make it look right.
I think
beginning.
he's gonna stick with it, dude, and I'm not happy about it. It just seems like that's the plan.
I'm being hopeful here, Chase. I'm being hopeful. Just give me the code breaker, or the lion tamer, or the lion salt even. Like, anything else looks better than the spinning elbow.
Yeah, I'm pretty down with the code breaker. I know a lot of people do it, but I don't think anybody does it as well as Chris Jericho does it.
Well, if you notice, most other people who do it usually do it with holds that kind of exclusivity almost. But
I don't
that's
know, or
me.
even come up with some kind of. I understand wanting to have an MMA style finish, but that ain't it, Chief. That shit just isn't it.
Honestly, you know what I would like to see Jericho do if he's wanting to go the MMA route, just straight take somebody and the finisher be yanking them down into the knee while it's coming up, something else, anything but a spinning fucking elbow. I'm just saying.
I'm not the Judas effect. I would agree with Chase. I think when Jericho makes his mind up on something, I think he's gonna roll with it. I think they established it. I think it's a pretty, I don't know, I wouldn't say protected, but you beat Omega with it. You could see him possibly beat Page with it at All Out. That move's gonna be pretty tough to come back from. But I like your hopefulness, because you gotta have it.
All right, let's jump ahead here. Once they clear Jericho and Page out of the ring, SoCal Uncensored versus the Lucha Brothers. I thought it was a good match. We talked a little bit earlier. It was super spotty. It was pretty much all spots, including Daniels coming out and doing the best moonsault ever off to the outside, which we mentioned earlier. Marco Stunt did a Hurricane Rana off the top rope. Got ejected from the match because there's no DQs in a multi-man match, but this is not a multi-man tag match. This is a basic tag team match. Ref was looking right at it, saw it happen. We should have gotten a DQ right there. I'm pretty sure JR called for it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
It makes the whole thing seem kind of goofy.
WCAEW, bud.
WCAEW.
Man, I just that really caught me off guard, and I feel like it sort of spoiled me on the match.
Yeah.
Other than that, the other thing I want to call out for the sake of time, I won't go too long, is at the end, Excalibur, Pentagon jumps off and hits the Canadian destroyer. Excalibur goes, "Oh, it's the package pile driver." And again, as soon as he said it, I was like, "Well, fuck, he called the finish early." Sure enough, as soon as Penta gets up, they fucking hit the package pile driver and they fucking pin. I'm like, God damn it, dude! Like, this is your one fucking job. And it was the most upset I got the entire night, because like, if you're gonna fuck up anything, don't fuck up calling the fucking finish. Don't do it early. Don't do it late. Like, and you know that the only reason he knows what a Canadian destroyer is. You know, the only reason he called it that is because he knew the finish was coming, and he fucking got over eager and just blurted it out and instantly corrected himself. And that's how I knew it was the finish, is because it's a package pile drive. I mean, the Canadian destroyer.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Again, telegraphed. It was telegraphed.
Very.
By him this time, but still same concept.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of, for me, a lot of the rest of the night was almost like a greatest hits show. Like, it kind of exhibition based, and I was glad to see the Lucha Brothers get a win, because, you know, wins and losses matter in AEW, so we hear. And that's their first win. So it was cool to see that. But yeah, it was so spotty. Like, I missed some shit just because I happened to look down for a second.
Yeah. It was a spot fest. You gotta be careful with that kind of match, especially with the Lucha Bros, because they kind of, if every single match turns into a spot fest, we start to, I think Sean Ross Sapp tweeted it out and was perfectly nailed it, was like, we start to sit and wait on the spots. And that's dangerous territory when we're kind of knowing what's coming and we're just sitting there waiting for the spot to happen. So.
Yep.
100%. Moving on here, just for the sake of time, at the end of the match, Lucha Brothers attack SCU with a ladder, and then they challenge the Young Bucks to a ladder match at All Out. Great. I'm all for that. I think that's awesome. I do like their ladders too. I don't want to like spend too much time on that, but the black and gold ladder looks really fucking good.
So my question is, what are they putting on the ladder?
Nothing. It's this competition about who's the best tag team in the world.
Yeah.
Like, the ladder match is.
Well, are they still carrying the AAA titles?
They are, but they're not going to put them on the line. I think that was just a cool promo thing for Las Vegas. The Bucks also said they tried to lose in Las Vegas, and Tony Khan was like, "No fucking way."
Yeah.
Yeah. They said Tony Khan has final say, and he refused. But 6 match, Kenny Omega versus Shima. I know you guys have a lot more thoughts on this than I do. I thought it was a pretty good match. I think Shima looked great going into it. This is really our first foray into him as like a singles competitor. Well, I guess no. Again,
Daniels.
I didn't see a lot of Fighter Fest. Yeah, sorry.
The Daniels match was good.
I'm sure Christopher Daniels is a great wrestler, and Shima is clearly a great wrestler just from the 6-man tag that they had at Double or Nothing. But there is some history between Shima and Kenny Omega. They go a long way back.
Yeah.
The biggest thing out of this match, dude, is the nasty looking Meteora onto that tiny little table. I honestly, dude, I don't think that hurt Kenny nearly as much as it probably hurt Shima. Because Kenny had a very short way to fall onto that table. And clearly the table was reinforced because it didn't break after the impact of him coming off of a higher spot and 2 full-grown men like getting pushed down onto the table. But Shima like had to hit it and then roll forward onto the floor. I feel like that was harder for him, but
yeah,
it looked great. I know you guys weren't a fan of it. I thought it was awesome. I'm also a fan of the apron bumps. So
well, no, I mean, it's not that I'm not a fan of it. I think it's I don't necessarily like to see Kenny taking stuff like that just as a top star. I know that's what he's going to do because that's the way he likes to. I mean, that's the way he performs.
Yeah, I mean that's a Japanese style.
Yeah, my takeaway from this match, it was a good match, solid match. I thought I mentioned it at one point. It felt to me a little bit similar to the Marty and Okada match at All In,
Hmm.
because it felt like it was may have went a little long. Again, kind of the trend of the night there, and that was the main takeaway. Is I thought it was a good match. It just a long match,
Yeah,
not a good
yeah,
match.
and to kind of expand upon what you're saying about Omega taking bumps like that, for one, I'm not too familiar with the history of Shima, but I'm going to assume that the Meteora is a newer finisher for him because if it wasn't, he wouldn't have knees anymore. And
I don't know. I think he's pretty safe about it. That's the whole point of the person like kind of sitting
there-
up and him landing. Like,
yeah, but there's only so much you can do to protect yourself from flying 4 feet down straight onto your knees. Like even protected, it's still a rough bump. Like
Yeah.
and between that and between Omega being down for doing all kinds of crazy shit, I kind of look at it as, all right, guys, get all of this out of your system before you're doing it weekly on TV. Get it all out of you. It's gonna be kind of rough doing all of this every match when you're on TV every week because one, it's gonna devalue it. Two, it's gonna be real rough trying to recover in between shows doing it.
I still think we see it weekly, honestly. Like, not as much of it, but I think that Kenny is much better at these kind of like beatdown spots where they're doing crazy things versus like the brawl that he did with Moxley at the end of Fyter Fest. I thought the brawl looked terrible, but if Omega comes out and does a crazy spot to put a guy down, I think it looks great, and I think that's his way of getting over. So I think we'll see more of it, just maybe not as often.
I think you're probably not off on that. But we'll move on. We need to talk about that at another time.
Yeah.
And then that fucking awful Jericho promo after that.
Yeah, Jericho promo's up next. Super hokey. I mean, it started off with good intentions. He went back to, I'm responsible for the TNT deal, which probably isn't completely untrue. There probably is a good part where TNT was like, hey, if you got Chris Jericho, we're in. Because he is a big name. But after that, it was a lot of like reliving the past. He stayed in the past. I was hoping that was going to be it, and then he would move forward. And it was a lot of just like, saying the same shit I've always said. But he did it in a shittier way.
Jackoffville.
He called him Jerksonville first, which was not better.
No, not at all. It's like if he went to his kids and he was like, hey kids, I gotta insult an entire city tonight. What do I do? And the kids are like, what's the city called? He's like, oh, well, it's Jacksonville. There's nothing for it. And the kids were like, Dad. First off, Dad, Jerksonville. Jerk was like, that is not good, but it's all I got. I got to use it. And then his oldest son was like, well, Dad, I'm 13 now, so what about Jackoffville? And Jericho was like, oh, fuck, I actually do like that one a lot. Like, I really like that one.
And what if I say it like I'm trying to get a crowd pump for a Fozzy show?
Yeah, it was not good, but the upside is we did get the revenge angle from Paige. He come out and looking very strong. You have the crowd separate them. And what I like is that you only have two guys pulling Jericho off because Jericho clearly doesn't want to be part of that fight. And then you have like 5 or 6 guys holding Paige back because Paige is trying to fucking get him some. I thought that was a really nice visual. And then not only that, but commentary, even though they did a lot of bad stuff through the night, they called that out as well. Yeah. Like clearly Jericho doesn't need to be held back. He doesn't want any part of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that too.
Then the last match of the night, Young Bucks versus the Rhodes Brothers. How do you guys feel about this match? Because I'm a little mixed about it.
I've got to go back and watch it. I missed a good chunk of it. I told you guys last night. Like I fell asleep. Like, and it's nothing against the show. I just had a really long day yesterday, and I ended up just passing out probably 5-10 minutes into the match. So
thanks, you missed a good chunk of it.
Mm-hmm.
My takeaway was I like on the whole I like that this pay-per-view let a lot of different people, quote unquote, shine. And I thought that was one of the best things that I came away with because Kip Sabian, B Priestley, you just had a lot of people, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Everybody's kind of getting their time. And I don't know what their plans are going forward, but I love the fact that Dustin was for me the one that stood out in this match. I thought he looked great. You got the Young Bucks doing Young Bucks stuff. No problem there. I think they did their best to tell the story that they wanted to tell. Unfortunately, with what happened at the end with them getting cut off, does it feel very final? I know it probably is, of course, but feels like they were wanting to at least have some closure there towards the end of the show that they didn't get to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think they were going to do like the whole like handshake respect angle. We'll probably get something related to it on BTE.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll see it tomorrow.
A couple of parts of the match I do want to call out. Dustin hitting the 2 consecutive power slams on the Young Bucks. Thought those looked great. And then, of course, the double power slams by both Dustin and Cody. Like, the Rhodes have the best power slams. That's where Randy Orton like got his power slam. But I love seeing them do that consecutively. I thought it was a really nice visual, especially with the matching outfits.
Yep.
I loved it. Absolutely.
Also,
You get the double shattered dreams as well with the referee's back turn, right?
Yeah, dude. And I don't know, dude. I actually enjoyed their double teams more than I enjoyed the Young Bucks stuff, just because it felt newer. Also, the assisted crossroads, dude. Fuck, I can't
that crossroads looked so sick. That was before I fell asleep. That crossroads looked great. I want to see them. I want to see Dustin stick around just so they can have more matches, so they can do that to a lot of people.
Dude, it's a reverse magic killer, but it's awesome. I was really stoked to see that. I don't know. I hope we see more tag matches out of them, honestly. I hope that for the sake of the tournament being legitimized, I hope that since Cody's not going for a world title right now, they're part of the tag team tournament picture.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
I'd be totally okay with that. I love them as a tag team.
Definitely.
I love it.
But to finish the match off, Bucks hit Cody with a Meltzer driver for the win. Of course, we go to get like the handshake angle at the end, but they run out of time. We get Shad Khan come out. They've got the $150,000 check, which I thought was kind of hokey. They spoiled it before when he got in the ring, he set the check down. The camera was right on it, so it wasn't like some big announcement. You could already see what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was weird.
They went off the rails. There was talk about technical things like we started the show talking about. They have to get better with communicating. Telling people in the ring, hey guys, we got to go home. We've only got 5 minutes left. We've got to get better communicating. Hey, social media is picking up on the caption things. I would not have been upset if when things went wrong, the commentary was like, hey, we noticed we're working on getting our issues, blah, blah, blah. There's no reason that the commentary can't address something that is blatantly obvious that we know. There's captions on the screen. Hey guys, we're having some technical difficulties. We're trying to get these wrapped up. Thank you for bearing with us. And just everything from a production standpoint has to get tighter, because when they went off the rails at the end, you had Cody go, hey, take us home with your catchphrase, which I don't know if at that point he doesn't remember Kenny can't do his catchphrase because this is a show about gun violence.
Yeah, no, I don't think Cody realized what he was doing, but I think he knew. And then also Matt, that's what he whispered in his ear, hey, don't fucking say that.
And he goes,
he's like, yeah, I know. Yeah. But
they didn't know if they were on TV or not. They kept, saying, well, if this makes it on TV, I'm not sure.
And that was weird too. So it was definitely an awkward ending, but overall, we'll go around. Ethan, final thoughts on Fight for the Fallen.
So, on a scale, I'm putting it at about a 6. I like if just numerically, that's a good solid show for me. Like I said, I liked that a lot of different people got the chance to shine. Didn't have an issue with most of their wrestling. Maybe 7 then, because a lot of the takeaways were just stuff, commentary, music randomly playing during a match, just things like that, But overall, if we take it for what it is, like you said, just as a warm up, kind of a charity show, a really good pay-per-view. And one thing that I noticed as well, even with all the weird glitchy things that they had going, Twitter was overwhelmingly positive as far as I could tell. Because I'm doing I'm looking through trending for Fight for the Fallen. Like, oh, let's see. I'm one of those people that love to go on Twitter and see like the negative, just the visceral things and inhumanity, so I can get angry for no reason. It wasn't there, man. It was, from what I could tell, everybody was digging it, and that's the most important thing. That's what Cody spoke to. But when they were in the last little bit there, is come take the journey with us. Are you guys in this with us? And that's what's really going to matter, is people sticking with them through the trials and tribulations of production issues.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cody, what about you?
So, okay, if you look at it as, you know how WWE has A-tier shows and B-tier shows, if you look at it as an A-tier show, I would give it probably a 3 or 4. But looking at it as like an in-your-house type level deal, I'd probably bump it up to a 6. I think that they did a good job of kind of showing off the other talent. I think that Double or Nothing was very top-heavy. And then, Fyter Fest was, it was still kind of top heavy. This one, I think, is one of the first times you really got to see some of the other people shine. Kip Sabian, I'm a fan.
Especially Shima.
Shima, yeah, I'm a fan of Shima too. Like these guys who probably have names elsewhere, but maybe don't have a name in overall mainstream U.S. wrestling culture or whatever. Like, they did a good job of letting those people get it in. And I thought it was a very good look at it, almost like a status check. Like, yeah, here's where we are right now. Here's what we've got to offer. I think that the production did kind of hamper things, but at the same time, I don't know. It didn't bother me too much. The only time it really bothered me was at the end, where it almost felt like
it was cringy.
It's streaming on Fight. That's the only thing that Turner doesn't own where it's being shown. They own Bleacher Report. That's why all these shows are going on Bleacher Report, is because it's Turner Broadcasting.
Yeah.
And they don't have time slots on there, really. This thing's live now. So I did kind of feel a little weird when they started talking like, oh, well, I don't know if this is going to make TV, or this might not make air, or it's like, guys,
Boing.
You're on your own.
Yeah. Good old boing.
I kind of got a chuckle out of that. I'm not going to lie. That didn't upset me. He did the best out of a bad situation there.
That's the way I took it as well. It was cringy. Yeah, I don't think you can't say it wasn't cringy, but given the context and given the fact that half of them didn't know what the shit was going on, they don't have earpieces, I'm fine with it.
And the only other thing I think that Omega could have done is, like, how he does his little gun thing. If he just held out his hand and said goodbye and goodnight, he could have just cut it off before the bang and not done the gun thing.
Yeah.
It didn't. Whatever. Who cares? It was a corny way to end the show, but it wasn't like an offensively corny thing. But yeah, this felt like a really good in your house pay-per-view.
Definitely. And that's sort of my takeaway as well. Is it's middle of the road. I think it was good enough to take some of these fucking WWE fanboys and make them say like, oh, well, maybe AEW has something here. But at the same time, it is a very solid reminder that AEW is not bulletproof. They are not immediately coming for the WWE, and they have a lot of fucking work ahead of them.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of potential there. The one thing they do have going for them is the fucking storytelling, because it is so good right now. They are doing a great job. Everybody feels elevated no matter whether they won or lost their match. Everyone feels like they should be on the show and they should be doing something. Minus Sonny Kiss and Peter Avalon. I'm a big fan of Peter Avalon, but he didn't get a chance to shine, really. This librarian gimmick is kind of hokey. I hope he's at least enjoying the silly side of it, because clearly the wrestling isn't, like, he's not going to get a lot out of that. But
yeah, I'm hoping they'd go ahead and get the intergender match out of the way that they're obviously building towards, and just let them go.
No, there will be no intergender wrestling.
Are they not doing it?
Yeah, no intergender wrestling. W.
Yeah,
Lame.
Tony Khan said he hates intergender wrestling. I think something along the lines of that.
Yeah,
maybe they can do it on a AAA show or something.
But I don't know, man. I think it's just a joke angle that they'll toss away at some point. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. Guys, make sure to follow us on Twitter at SmarkWeek. And then you can see our individual Twitter handles here at Chase Walker FTW, at Go for Jonko, and at Fatter Sami Zayn. Guys, it's been
best
a blast.
Twitter name.
Our first ever morning after review. We will see you guys next time.